Right now at 6, authorities arrest another teen who allegedly made threats against a high school. What we're learning about the suspect tonight. Plus,
she deserves to be buried. She deserves to be laid to rest.
The family of a toddler who died in an apparent drug overdose is speaking out as police continue their search for the 2-year-old's mother. And later,
we are 50 days away from an election, and we have yet to hear answers about how is this going to get fixed.
As concerns grow on both sides of the aisle over the Oregon DMV mistake that registered over 300 people who aren't U.S. citizens to vote.
First at 6, a Cowlitz County teenager is under arrest after police say they made repeated threats involving Kalama High School. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Joe Ranieri is live in the newsroom for us this evening. And Joe, this is just the latest arrest made over the last week involving teens accused of making threats against schools.
Yeah, Christine, there's been several cases over the last week or so. Now, Kalama police arrested a 14-year-old student in this latest case who was making those threats, but a police spokesperson told me they never found any of those threats to be credible. And luckily, a student came forward and alerted school officials and police earlier today. This arrest was made this morning after the 14-year-old made threats to Kalama High School and told other students about their plan. Though the Kalama Police Department said in a statement that they appreciate the courage of the student who came forward and alerted authorities. This comes after a couple of different threats over the last week involving teenagers who were making threats targeting schools. There was one in Longview last week, and over the weekend, a 13-year-old was arrested in that case. Nick Shanmack with the Kalama School District told me the student who found out about the threats did the right thing.
You know, the student who reported the threatening comment did exactly what we ask students to do, and that's to take these things seriously. And if you see something, say something. And so we're just really appreciative of that student for speaking up.
You might remember last week, another teenager was arrested after making threats on social media towards Sweet Home High School. All schools in the Sweet Home School District were closed late last week, Thursday and Friday of last week, but they were reopened again today. David and Christine, back to you.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate the update. In your headlines now, a man is dead after he was hit by a car early this morning in Gresham. This is around 1:40 a.m. at Southeast Stark and 164th. 6 blocks of Stark were closed for about 4 hours. The suspect took off after the collision. At this point, there is no information on a suspect and no arrests have been made.
4 days into the Boeing workers' strike, and today the company announced a series of cost-cutting measures. In addition to the possibility of temporary layoffs, Boeing is considering a hiring freeze, as well as putting the brakes on pay increases and promotions for management, non-critical employee travel, and outside consultant spending. The union wants a 40% pay increase. The last strike in 2008 lasted 57 days and cost Boeing an estimated $2 billion.
Some major changes are on the way for Intel as company leaders try to combat slumping sales that have prompted layoffs in Oregon and around the world. Today, Intel CEO said the company will essentially be split in two, separating its semiconductor manufacturing arm from its computer chip design operation. Intel also announced today that it reached a deal with Amazon to make custom AI chips for its data centers while delaying plans for 3 international factories. Last month, Intel announced it plans to cut more than 15% of its workforce after posting a $1.6 billion second quarter loss. Intel shares closed up over 6%.
In Southern Oregon now, a group of tribes is suing the federal government to stop a planned offshore wind energy project. Earlier this month, the Biden administration announced an auction will take place in October to develop floating wind turbine farms in 2 zones off the coast. The Oregonian reports the Confederated Tribes of Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Siuslaw Indians filed a lawsuit Friday challenging the government's environmental analysis. They say the wind farms will harm critical fish and marine wildlife habitats and negatively impact commercial as well as historical tribal fisheries. They want a new environmental analysis.
And authorities in Wasco County are looking for a suspected arsonist who's now been charged with setting a destructive wildfire. The DA says 51-year-old Christopher Menely was squatting on a property near the community of Friend when he started what became known as the Larch Creek Fire. The blaze went on to burn more than 18,000 acres, forcing evacuations and racking up to $14 million in firefighting costs. Now, following a grand jury indictment, the suspect was scheduled to appear this morning in county court but did not show up. There is now a warrant out for his arrest. Matt?
All right, David, thanks very much. We've had a great day here west of the Cascades for our final Monday of summer. Up in the Cascades, though, you can see some clouds moving on through. There have been showers over on the east side. Of course, it's a lot cooler up there at 6,000 feet. We will be cooler tomorrow. We'll top out at only 62, so a good 15 degrees cooler than today. And yeah, those are raindrops. We're not going to get a lot of rain, but there will be showers the middle and the last part of the day tomorrow. We'll talk about what a coastal slider is coming up a bit later. We've got the showers, as I mentioned, for tomorrow, but a really nice finish to the week and to summer. Fall begins Sunday morning. We may have to contend with some showers this weekend, guys.
Hey, that sounds great, though. Thank you, Matt. In Washington County, a grand jury has just indicted the man accused of kidnapping and killing his neighbor, a Beaverton nurse.
Catherine Cook is live at the Washington County Courthouse where he was arraigned late this afternoon. Catherine, what can you tell us?
Christine, Bryce Schubert pleaded not guilty to 3 charges today, including first-degree murder. That charge was just upgraded from second-degree murder. He's also indicted on first-degree kidnapping and second-degree abuse of a corpse. The courtroom was packed this afternoon. Many people here, friends and loved ones of Melissa Jubain. Police say the Beaverton nurse was murdered earlier this month. Police arrested Jubain's neighbor, 27-year-old Bryce Schubert. He appeared very briefly in court via video and said very little. Investigators say Schubert and Jubain lived in the same Beaverton apartment complex. At this point, police are not sharing where they found Jubain's body or what led them to arrest Schubert. A grand jury heard from 17 witnesses before deciding there was enough evidence to indict Schubert. And he remains lodged here in the Washington County Jail. His next court appearance is set for October 15th. Back to you.
Catherine Cook in Hillsborough tonight. Thank you, Catherine. Meanwhile, in Clark County, the medical examiner has confirmed that the death of a Vancouver toddler earlier this year was the result of fentanyl exposure.
21-month-old Ruth Richards died on March 25th. Her mother, 38-year-old Catherine Richards, was arrested last week and charged with first-degree manslaughter. She has pleaded not guilty. Meantime, the family of a Northeast Portland toddler who died in an apparent drug overdose spoke with us today as police still search for the 2-year-old's mother.
Let's bring in Blair Best live downtown outside police headquarters. Blair, this is absolutely heartbreaking.
We talked with the mother and the cousin of the 2-year-old, and they're at a loss, but they want justice for this little girl. They tell us she was staying with her mother when she accidentally ingested fentanyl and died.
It's been 4 days since Dominique Hodges' 2-year-old cousin Aurora died from a suspected fentanyl overdose.
I was heartbroken. That is one of the worst things that could happen to anyone.
Police responded to a 2-year-old in cardiac arrest at this Northeast Portland mobile home park around 2:30 Thursday afternoon. Aurora died at the hospital despite attempts to save her.
They said that she passed from a suspected fentanyl overdose, that she had gotten a hold of it from like a piece of tinfoil or a pill that was laying around.
The mom went in to go check on her and had rolled her over, and when she rolled her over, her lips were blue.
Tina Thomas is Aurora's aunt.
I spent a lot of time with her when she was littler.
She was super funny. She was always like super bubbly, and she had these really big brown eyes. And even from like a newborn baby, her hair was like super long and crazy.
They learned late Thursday Aurora was staying with her mother at a friend's house, even though her mother did not have custody, they tell us.
The ambulance was on the way, and the mom jumped up and said, I can't do this, and ran out the door.
Police are still searching for the mother and have not yet released her name.
I think she's probably hiding with her friends, and they're protecting her because that's what they do in the drug community.
The family says she has a history of addiction and 3 kids, including an 8-year-old boy who was also there during the overdose.
Anybody that was in that house that was an adult who participated in the drug activity while they watched this little baby wander around the house while they are all getting high and doing drugs, I want every one of them accountable.
The family tells us that Aurora's father, who also has a fentanyl addiction, is also missing. There's a GoFundMe set up to help with funeral costs, and anyone with information is asked to contact Portland Police. Back to you.
Blair Best, downtown Blair. Appreciate your reporting tonight.